On behalf of the City Council, these young men sitting here, we want to welcome you. Thank you for coming. At this time, we'd ask you to please stand and remain standing after Reverend Williams' good invocation. Walk place to the flag.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Heavenly Father, who knows all about us and loves us unconditionally, plenteous in mercy, generous in understanding, and judging us not after the multitude of our misgivings, but with agape love, grant us deliverance and forgiveness. Bless this council tonight with the spirit of steadfastness and all-inclusiveness. We as finite creatures are limited, but thou art unlimited. Grant that we be made aware of all the needs of those whom we serve. Give us the courage and strength and resources to meet their needs. We pray for our administrative staff, all employees, all citizens and residents of this city. Bless our nation and all nations. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to ask our city clerk to have a roll call for us. Here.
Mayor President
Here.
Councilmember Broadway.
Here.
Councilmember Bennett.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Allen.
Here.
Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. We're all here. Minutes of our work session and regular meeting of Monday, November 19th.
Move that they be received, Mr. Mayor. Second.
We have a motion and a second that our minutes be approved. Any corrections, additions, or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Our minutes are approved. Is Melvin Smith here? He's not here yet. Okay. Public comment period. Anyone who would like to take up to 3 minutes to address us, we'd be glad to hear from you. Anyone? Seeing none, we will...
What gentleman raised his hand?
Yes, please come forward. Take my glasses off so I can see. Would you give us your name and mailing address?
My name is Christopher Hayes. I live at 105 Overbrook Road in Goldsboro. I just came out tonight in support of the Wayne County Greenways Advocacy Group, and I just wanted to mention that after living here for a couple of years, that I find some challenges with getting around on foot in my neighborhood and getting to parks and other places I'd like to go. A lot of times I have to drive there as opposed to walking, and I think that if we were able to get some efforts together to put together some greenways, it would help with some of the disconnected sidewalks that we have in town and allow people to get from point to point, walk to the park and enjoy the park, and as opposed to having to drive there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Carol Sessions, 305 Lois Place, Goldsboro. And I came with the bikeways too. And one question I had was about the Royal Avenue widening. And I was wondering if they're going to incorporate the complete streets concept, where it's built for the car, the bike, and the pedestrian. The complete streets policy was passed in July 2009. If there's enough funding, we can provide that with the Royal Avenue widening. And then I just wanted to share with you, they're also writing the North Carolina bike plan that started in July of 2012 and will end in May of 2013. And I was hoping that we could get included in the North Carolina bike plan. They started a new newsletter, and if you could sign up with that. We also have a new Department of Transportation
Thank you.
Director.
Thank you.
She's the director of the Bicycle Pedestrian Division of the North Carolina Department of Transportation. And she's accepting comments from the public and, from areas that want bikeways. There's also a website that you can make a direct comment. The plan's called Walk, Bike, North Carolina. Let's see. You can even put your YouTube video on this.
Thank you.
I appreciate you fighting Greenways in Goldsboro and County. Also, Charlotte was awarded $4 million, and I was wondering how we could we haven't been awarded any funds. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Riley Shalane. I reside at 103 West Court. And I'm a vice president for the Goldsboro High School Key Club. And this Saturday we'll be helping clean up the trails. And I just wanted to ask for your support and help expanding the trails for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Bakari Hamilton. I'm 16. I reside at 914 6th Street, and I'm also supporting the Wayne County Greenways Advocacy Group. Really, I think the Greenway is a good, project for us to get kids, mostly and teenagers, out to exercise more and to become more healthier and everything. So I really appreciate if y'all will come out and help, because it's a really great project. Thank you.
Thank you. And keep motivating these young people to walk and stay active. Anyone else? Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Lakaya Fuller. I reside on 800 Isla Street in Goldsboro. I'm also a part of the Key Club at Goldsboro High School. And I just want to say, all my life, I've always enjoyed being outside and being around nature. And I have 2 younger sisters. On behalf of them and all the children of Wayne County, I'm asking for your support to help build safe places for walking and riding for children of all ages to enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm impressed with this. This is good. Let's see. Okay, anyone else? Not, we will now close the public hearings. And I asked a minute ago if Melvin Smith is here, and Melvin's here. I got a note, and I'd like to, at this time, read a resolution, and it has to do with Melvin, of course. Resolution expressing appreciation for services rendered by Melvin H. Smith as an employee of the City of Goldsboro for more than 31 years. Whereas Melvin H. Smith retired on December 31st, 2012, is a fire engineer with the Goldsboro Fire Department of the City of Goldsboro with more than 31 years of service. And whereas Melvin began his career on July 24th, 1981 as a firefighter with the City of Goldsboro Fire Department, and whereas on November 18, 1998, Melvin was promoted to fire engineer with the Goldsboro Fire Department, and whereas on April 4, 2009 to June 8, 2009, and again on September 12, 2011 to December 6, 2011, Melvin served as interim captain with the Goldsboro Fire Department. Whereas on December 6, 2011, Melvin resumed his duties as fire engineer with the Goldsboro Fire Department, where he has served until his retirement. Whereas Melvin has proved himself to be a dedicated and efficient public servant who has gained the admiration and respect of his fellow workers and the citizens of the city of Goldsboro. And whereas the mayor and city council of the city of Goldsboro are desirous on behalf of themselves, the other city officials and employees, and the citizens of the city of Goldsboro are expressing to Melvin H. Smith their deep appreciation and gratitude for the service rendered by him to the city over the years. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Goldsboro, North Carolina, that one, we express to Melvin H. Smith our deep appreciation and gratitude for the dedicated service rendered during his tenure with the City of Goldsboro. Two, we offer Melvin our very best wishes for success, happiness, prosperity, and good health in his future endeavors. This resolution shall be incorporated into the official minutes of the City of Goldsboro and shall be in full force and effect from and after this 12th day of January 2013. I move for adoption of this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion's carried. At this time, I'd like to ask Melvin if he would come forward. And I would ask him if he'd like to say anything, but I know Melvin, he likes to talk a lot. No, I'm only kidding.
How are you? Good. How are you?
Melvin, do you have anyone you'd like to go up here with you, or do you want to?
Well, my crowd's right there.
Yeah, they're right here. You want to leave them there, or bring them up?
No.
They're okay right there. Well, I want to present you this, and I know, Melvin, I remember when your first day, 31 years ago. I cannot believe that it's been 31 years.
Golf course.
Golf course. Haven't seen you out there maybe much lately. Maybe it's because I haven't been. Have you been going?
No.
Okay. We're gonna do it again.
Yes, sir.
Melvin,
Thank you.
again, on behalf of our citizens, I'd like to present this to you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you so much for your 31 years of valuable service.
I love it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Melvin, you and your family, if you'd like to stay, you may, but if you want to leave, we understand. Okay, moving right along, Mr. City Manager.
Let's see, Mayor and Council, I guess at this time we would allow Kay Scott to come up and introduce our audit presentation.
There she is.
This is the audit for fiscal year 2011-12. The general statutes of the state of North Carolina requires that the city of Goldsboro undertake an independent audit of its financial records or on an annual basis. The city has contracted with the firm of Pitter, Perry & Crone to perform its yearly financial review. Michelle Kiefler with Pitter, Perry & Crone is here tonight to give a brief overview of our fiscal year 11-12 audit and answer any questions. You know I'm excited about this.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
City Council. As you know, you have your audit in front of you, and if you want to open up your audit, we'll pass a couple of the front pages and turn directly to the audit itself, which is, we will go to page 23, which is of greatest interest. And on page 23, I'm excited to say that your unassigned, which is what you used to call your unappropriated fund balance, is over $6 million this year, which is up $1.8 million. This is very exciting news, and this is due to FEMA giving you over $700,000 this year for the disaster of the hurricane. And we also had a tax revenue increase, not really increase, but it was a tax revenue neutral due to the revaluation that you had, which increased $1.2 million, which gives you your $1.8 million of increase in your unassigned or unappropriated fund balance, which is very exciting. If you move on to page 26, this shows you your original budget, your final budget, and your actual. This shows you that your final budget, you had planned to use $3 million of fund balance, but instead you put $800,000 into fund balance. So your total fund balance increased by $800,000 into your general fund. If we continue to move on, we'll move on to your statement of expenditures for your and revenue for your proprietary fund, which is your sewer and water fund. And again, we had an increase of $866,000 of revenue over expenditures. And this is due to your expenditures being less than budgeted. All your department heads in both your general fund and your water and sewer has held their expenditures down to below budget, which is really impressive during this economic times. And my final thing I'll say is if you go back and flip towards the back, which is page 112, this is your compliance section. This is where we actually take what the statute says and we actually test specific grants that has been given to you, whether it's FEMA or whether it's the PAL bill. And we want to say that we have tested these grants and there were no findings in any of the grants. So we have no management comments, no findings, and the LGC, which is the Local Government Commission, has given their final approval as of this morning with nothing to change in the audit. So we are very excited that it is a closed year. And as always, I want to thank Kay and her financial group, because we could not have done this without them. And we want to thank you.
We want to thank you, and I want to thank Kay and her staff, and I'm sure all of council members do. Yes. You know, I've known that young lady, whoa, for really, I won't say how long, but I can tell you she's done a fantastic job with us in finance.
Yes.
And I affectionately call her Moneybags.
Yes.
And there's a reason for that.
Yes, sir.
Kay, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I sort of ask you how James Crone is doing.
Mr. Crone, he is living in Chapel Hill in assisted living, and he still calls us now and then, but he's deteriorating a little bit as he ages. Any other questions? Any questions from council? But I'm always free. You can call me at any time during the year. I'm your auditor all year long. You can ask Kay.
We heard what we really want to hear.
Okay.
Too. But thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Look forward to it again.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, the next time we have your public hearings, and I'll turn it over to Jimmy Rowe to carry us through the public hearings.
Mayor, City Councilman, item C, alley closing petition. The alley runs from Evans Street to Klingman Street between Royal Avenue and First Street. The alley is shown on the map. I don't know if that will work. Klingman Street is shown here. This is Royal Avenue that's shown here. This is First Street. And this is Evans Street that's located here, and this is the alley in question. It's a 10-foot wide alley, 423 feet long. And this is the area photograph that shows the existing residential development that's located here. Well, this is some residential here, and we have a store. This is a house here, and this is residential in this area here. The petitioner was Woodhaven Enterprises, LLC. The petition alley closing has been forwarded to the Fire, Police, Engineering, and Public Works Department for their review. At their meeting on December 3rd, 2012, the City Council adopted a resolution of intent to schedule a public hearing on this matter. The resolution was advertised in the newspaper for 4 consecutive weeks. The alley was posted on both ends, and all adjacent property owners were notified of the hearing by certified mail. The recommendation is no action necessary. The Planning Commission will have a recommendation for the council's meeting on February the 4th, 2013.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Thanks, Jimmy. Again, this is a public hearing, as Mr. Rowe just described. Alley closing. If there's anyone who would like to speak, we'd be glad to hear from you. Anyone like to speak on this issue? Again, if you would give us your name and mailing address.
Stephen Howell, 100 Chancery Drive here in Goldsboro. I am manager of Woodhaven Enterprises, LLC. We are the one petitioned to have the alley closed. We own the property on both sides of the alley. Since we have the property for many years now, the alley has always been an overgrowth area with trees. People were throwing trash such as old fences, TVs, winos hanging out, drug use, things of that nature. Hurricane came through several years ago and blew down a large tree. I contacted the city, Mr. George, about that, and he said pretty much that since the tree was on our side, it was our responsibility to take care of this. We invested almost $1,000 to have this tree removed and to try to clean up our portion of the alleyway there. Since then, there's still a lot of stumps left, tree branches, things of that nature, and it's hard for our tenants to mow on each side, including the alley. Back in September, and got a letter in the mail from the city of Goldsboro that we had a violation notice. And I was shocked to get this, but also once again by Mr. George, it said the main reason was unsightly, weeded, overgrowth area where a tree was removed. So since this, the area has grown back up again, even though it's been grown up for probably 15 to 20 years now. Once again, we invested money to have it cleaned up and so forth, but as we speak, we really don't feel like it's our responsibility to keep investing money to have it cleaned up whenever it's not really our property to start with, even though we do own on adjacent sides of the alleyway. Many people does not even realize there is an alleyway there. I've had people across the street to call and say, what's the sign for? And we explain that there's an alleyway there, and if you were to look down the alleyway, there's tree growth, there's fences, you would not even know it's there. So our request is to have this alleyway closed mainly so we can clean it up, and once again maybe bring in a bulldozer to get the lot level so we can, at our expense, continue to keep this cleaned up. We bought most of the houses on the block, and our intent was to clean up the area. We have, the neighbors are very happy that it has gone back to a very nice environment on Evans Street. So that is the purpose of trying to have it closed.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I don't see anyone. So we will close this public hearing and we will move to our next.
Item D, Z113, Pearl Southeast, LLC. The property is located on the west side of West Lockhaven Drive between Wayne Memorial Drive and Norwood Avenue. The property has a frontage of 64 feet, an average depth of 582.5 feet, a total area of approximately 248,292 square feet, or 5.7 acres. The present zoning classification is Office of Institutional 1. The proposed zoning classification is R6 residential, conditional district to allow a 72-unit multi-family apartment facility. The subject property is shown here in the crosshatch area. The property shown in the blue is Office of Institutional 1. The property here is R6 residential, R9 residential. You have some R16, some R12. The property shown here is shopping center. In the red color is general business. The comprehensive land use plan designates the existing property for existing residential development, the property in the purple for industrial development, the pink here for commercial development, and the green for agricultural development. This is our photo of the site that's shown here. This is the submitted site plan that's shown here that shows the proposed 72 units in the 6 buildings that are located here. This is proposed parking that's shown here. This is Lock Haven Drive that's shown here, and the proposed entrance is located here at the cul-de-sac. City water and sewer can be made available to the property. If rezoned, site and landscape plans will have to be approved prior to any development taking place. The submitted preliminary plans show the 3-story buildings. The recommendation is no action necessary. The Planning Commission will have a recommendation for the council's meeting on February 4th, 2013.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
I got one, Mr. Wright. Jimmy, tell us what can go in office and institutional one. What type of facilities?
An institution, you're basically talking about office uses. You can have like beauty salons, schools, and things of that nature. Retail, you can have some retail associated with the use that's going to be there, such as if you have a hair salon, they can sell the products that they use in the salons. But retail sales, you can't have that in an office institution.
Good. Thank you. Again, this is a public hearing. It's just described by Mr. Rowe. He's coming back for seconds.
There is a protest petition on this property.
Okay.
So therefore, 6 out of 7 of the council members have to vote in order to approve this report.
Thanks. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this issue? Yes, sir. If you please come forward and give us your name and building address.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm Charles Hastings, and I live at 1019 12th Street. I'd like to bring up a couple points. I'm the one that, my wife and I got the petition going and took it around and had our neighbors to sign it. Apparently we got the 20% of the ones that we needed. There's a couple things I'd like to bring forth as far as some concerns. Already in that immediate area is one large apartment complex that is now under construction. I think it's 3 stories. On Lock Haven, there is a nursing home, and then it is apartments on both sides of Lock Haven, all the way out to the stoplight on Wayne Memorial, which is very congested. This apartment complex that they are asking to put in would really change our neighborhood, I believe. We don't have sidewalks. It's 1 block long. We don't have a lot of foot traffic. It's like I say, it's only 1 block. We don't have a lot of auto traffic, and of course, this apartment complex would not have anything to do with automotive traffic. But to get from these apartments, foot traffic would be, if they wanted to go toward 70, toward any of the fast food establishments, toward the 2 convenience stores that we have, because of drainage ditches, that foot traffic would be channeled across private property. And that's something that I don't think any of us would really like to have. Those ditches, those drainage ditches they're pretty wide. You can't walk, you can't climb over them. But they would be, any foot traffic would be forced to use 12th Street, 11th Street, Wendell, and maybe that end of Norwood. It would really change the neighborhood. It would cause more noise. It would make us less attractive to new buyers. And as we exit on from 12th Street to Wendell or Norwood and on to 11th and go up to the stoplight at Wayne Memorial, on a good day, that's a very, very busy road all the way from there to the hospital. There would be so many apartments. If you look at the floor plan, the schematic there, it really doesn't show all the apartments that are existing already. You've got the one that is under construction now to the right, and then on each side of Norwood, that is a large apartment complex. I don't know how many units, but it would not do our property value a whole lot of good to have that kind of traffic on foot going through the neighborhood. And it would just change the neighborhood dramatically, I believe. And a lot of the people there, I've been there 14 years, and most of my neighbors have been there much longer than that and have been very happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I don't see anyone. Yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
I'd like to speak. Trey Taylor. I'm an attorney here in town with Warren, Carl, Walston, Taylor, and Smith.
Thanks.
And I think I know all of you pretty well and appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and speak today. I am speaking here on behalf of the developer or potential purchaser, which is Pearl Southeast LLC. And I have with me Dustin Mills. Dustin, if you'd raise your hand. Dustin is here representing the company, and he will be available to talk with Mr. Hastings or any of the residents in that area with you or the planning board as needed. I also have Brian Jones here. Brian's local surveyor and engineer who's worked on this project diligently and prepared some of the plans that you have been presented with. And then Jeff Daniels. Jeff is born and raised, well, he's raised here in Goldsboro. His father's retired with BB&T, Danny Daniels, and Jeff's a realtor from over in Greenville, and he's also involved in this project. So I just want to give you an idea of who's involved in this project. This company, is spelled P-I-R-H-L, but it's pronounced Pearl. And Pearl has built 25 of these properties throughout the country. And they have third-party managers that manage these apartments for them. So Pearl is not a fly-by-night developer. They're an experienced developer that builds a first-class apartment complex. This would be the second project in North Carolina that Pearl would develop. The first one is in Salisbury. It's been approved and it's just now beginning construction. I didn't get involved in this until last week, and as I understand what has happened is in mid-December, Pearl filed its request, and Mr. Rowe can speak to those dates, but and the public hearing was scheduled for tonight, and quite frankly, with the Christmas holiday, the New Year's holiday, Dr. Martin Luther King holiday, the public hearing came on Pearl a little quicker than it anticipated. The city's to be commended. Often when Pearl files these kind of rezoning applications in some of the larger cities they've dealt with, it's many months before they get an opportunity to have a public hearing. I say that to tell you that this isn't the way we would have preferred to handle this matter. And what we would propose to do is to I think the planning board is to consider this next Monday night, and then you would act on your meeting the Tuesday week after that. We want to slow that down a little bit. We would ask you to have the planning board, if the planning board agrees, to postpone its consideration from January 28th until its meeting on February the 25th. That would give us time to do what we would like to do, and that is to meet individually and probably as a group with the people who live out there and show them exactly what we plan to do with this property, and then listen to them and hear their concerns. Pearl wants to be a good neighbor. This is not about forcing something unwanted on local folks. This is about coming in and being a partner, being a contributing property owner with the city of Goldsboro, being a good neighbor with the surrounding properties. And so if we can slow this down and have the meeting that I've mentioned, it would give us an opportunity to address Mr. Hastings' concerns and concerns that any others might have, but who didn't want to come up here and speak tonight, but who signed a protest petition. We believe that the concerns that Mr. Hastings has raised and the concerns that other neighbors probably have can be addressed so that this property can be developed to his highest and best use, and at the same time be compatible with the surrounding properties. What Pearl has proposed here is 72 total units. It'll be a mix of 2 and 3 bedroom units, so not be any 1 bedroom units. The anticipated development cost is $8.5 million. The 2 bedroom apartment will average around 1,027 square feet. The 3 bedroom 1,175 square feet. The center will they'll have on-site leasing. They'll have a community room. They'll have an exercise facility and an internet cafe for the residents to use. So we feel like this will provide some more housing, good housing for the citizens of Goldsboro and folks that may move here. One of the main points we'd like to make is that our access is going to be on Lockhaven Drive. We absolutely do not plan to use an easement to get out to Norwood Avenue. In fact, the way the building is planned on the property, it will be perpendicular to the access point at Norwood, basically blocking any future use of the easement to get out to Norwood Avenue. The southern property line is north of an access easement along 12th Street, so again, they cannot access 12th Street. So as Mr. Hastings, I think, acknowledged, the traffic is not going to come out of this development onto the residential neighborhoods there, but is instead going to go down Lockhaven Avenue. As far as the location of the building, and James, you've got that up now, and if I can just walk over here, you see that the units are where they're proposed to be built. You can see all this open green space here that would be adjacent to the folks whose homes back up here. There are 2 houses up here at the top that back up to the property on that end, and these buildings are 75 feet from the property line. You can see their plantings that are all planned to be planted to, again, provide privacy and screening and cut down on the noise. So what they've done, what Ryan's done a good job of, is to move the buildings away from the residences as far as they can and still get them in the property. In speaking with Dustin tonight, and again, because of the short time, relatively short time period in holidays, we just got a copy of the protest petition this morning. Hadn't had a chance to talk with Mr. Hastings and the other folks that live out there. Very much, again, want to do that. We feel like that there are more accommodations that the developer is willing to make to be as friendly a neighbor as possible. Things such as a privacy fence. Things such as making sure the exterior lighting and parking lot lighting is angled in such a way that it doesn't shine into their homes at nights. The privacy fence would cut down on the foot traffic that Mr. Hastings was talking about. As far as the impact for the city, we anticipate the annual tax bill to be over $80,000. That'd be a significant source of revenue for the city. The contractor that Pearl hires uses local subcontractors. And they anticipate more than 100 local subcontractors would get some work in building this project. So it won't be an out-of-town crew. It'll be local folks getting jobs. And again, Mr. Manager, we're all about getting jobs for our local people. Pearl uses a third-party management company, and in their contract, they make it very clear that if the property is not maintained and managed to the standards that Pearl expects, the management company gets fired, and they bring another one in. There will be a full-time management agent on site and a maintenance worker full-time. Again, that's 2 jobs that'll be created. And also, there's somebody there at all times to maintain the safety and the appearance of the buildings. And so if there's a problem, then be it the city, the police, the residents, they have someone they can go to on site who's there every day to say, hey, there's a problem here, so that it can be addressed. All potential residents must provide verification of income, and the management company conducts background checks on all applicants. So folks have to be approved to be able to move into this apartment. Mr. Allen asked a question about other uses for office and institutional, and I would follow that up by saying that I think there are any number of uses and development of this property for office and institutional that would fit the present zoning and would be much less compatible and much less neighborly to the residents who live out there than the apartments that are being proposed. This area is developing. You've just approved some senior apartments that are being constructed next door. I think Mr. Rowe pointed that out. And so we feel like apartments would be very compatible with the developments that's going on here and would be the highest and best use of this property and be, quite frankly, better than other uses that would meet the present zoning classification. The developers, and I'll wrap it up, but going to Mr. Hastings' concerns, we respect Mr. Hastings' concerns. We respect the fact that people that live out there don't want their properties devalued or the enjoyment of their property impaired. And our goal is not to do that. Our goal is to enhance that area. It's overgrown now. To enhance that area by constructing a very nice first-class apartment. I have some proposed front and side elevation drawings that I'd like to pass out to you when I finish. But we think the neighborhood has already changed, and this building will not change it any more than what is already being changed and what the city's overall plan for that area is. We absolutely don't intend to funnel foot traffic onto private property and onto these residential neighborhood streets. Again, privacy fencing, planting shrubbery and trees, all those things we're willing to do, want to do, to stop any inconvenience for the neighbors that live out there. It would cut down on the noise, and so again, our plan, if the neighbors will meet with us, we want to meet with them. We want to hear all their concerns. We want to show them what we plan, and then we're going to try as best we can to accommodate and resolve all of their concerns. And one more thing, as far as traffic on Wayne Memorial, we all know it's a heavily traveled road, but office and institutional uses of this property could very likely create more traffic than these apartments would, because people would be coming and going at different times of the day, and so we don't think it would overburden Wayne Memorial Drive any more than it already is. So we would appreciate your consideration of our request for this zoning change, and at this time I would like to pass out our proposed plan. I'll be available. Mr. Mills, Dustin will be available to you, to the planning board, and to the residents to see if we can't make this a win-win situation for everybody. Thank you very much.
Question, sir.
Yes, sir.
You said 75 feet from the residence. 75
Yes,
feet?
sir.
What kind of buffer do you have there?
If I could call on Brian Jones, the engineer surveyor, Reverend Williams.
All the buffers will.
Would you
come up here and speak up a little bit, Brian?
Sure.
Brian Jones, Jones Consulting Engineers. All the buffers will meet the city code requirements as far as the city buffers. If you you notice if you remember on the Highlands project, which is the elderly 3-story buildings being over there, now that setback was placed at 75 or 80 feet back just to keep it off of those residents. The buffer will be at least a 30-foot buffer, type C buffer as far as the type C. 20-foot buffer is what's required, but type C buffer, so it's an opaque type buffer. Yeah.
And Brian, just help me understand exactly. All these folks probably know what that is, but just exactly what is a type C buffer?
Well, a type C buffer just generally indicates that you need to have a full opaque plantings of trees, shrubs, large trees. I think it's like large trees, small trees, large shrubs, small shrubs, just basically creating an opaque barrier between uses.
Right, so it'd be a barrier almost of trees and shrubs that you couldn't see through, that would help block noise, that would help block traffic. And again, we're willing to follow that up with a fence if the neighbors would think that would be appropriate and help cut down on that foot traffic and address the concerns that they have about impinging on their neighborhood. Thank you, Reverend Williams.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Again, we want to be open and transparent in this process and try to make this a win-win situation for everyone.
Hey, we're easy. These people out here, man, they're tough.
I know a few of these folks on the planning board.
Everything you've said, and
I'm worried about them.
They're tough, so we'll see.
Well, we'll try to meet their expectations.
Okay.
Yes, sir. If I could pass out copies of this, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Trey. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this issue?
My name is William A. Cock. I live at 1013 12th Street. That's be right next door to where this place is going in at. Excuse me. I hadn't had, as he said, hadn't had a chance to talk to these people at all. But my worry is this. Can I go to the board? My worry is traffic that's going to be in on Lockhaven Drive here. Now we got 17 buildings in front end of Lockhaven Drive now, almost 100 apartments. We got 11 buildings of maintenance taken back here, back and on the left hand side of Lockhaven Drive. We got a rest home that's right back here. If you, the other picture you had up, right in this area right here, is going to be a 3-story. And I've got how many units it is, but quite a few units. All that traffic, all these people, it's got to come out this drive here. Are you going to make another drive for them somewhere? And we don't need the traffic coming out over on 12th Street or 11th Street and Norwood Avenue. We just don't need it. But it's going to be a problem. I tell you that, and you know that, and I know that. When you get that many people in that small area, they came there and they asked us about building that retirement. Or came about the medical complex back there for people that was sick and stuff like that. And I didn't fight that because that's something we have to have. We're all getting older, and one day we don't know. But then they come in and wanted to put that 3-story stuff in there. which is another 60 or 70 or 80. I don't know how many, I can't remember how many units it is. But all this is feeding in the same area. And this is going to be the same thing. It's going to feed them to Lockhaven Drive. Now, you say West Lockhaven Drive. Lockhaven runs east and west, so I don't know how it could be on West Lockhaven Drive, but I ain't going to argue that. But he's talking about building security fences around the property and putting trees and stuff like that. How close will those trees be to my property? Am I going to have to rake leaves for the next 20 years until I die one with leaves blowing over in my yard? They ain't going to come over there and rake those leaves for me. It's going to be me. And I need the privacy part of it. But how close to my fence is going to be, because my fence is right next to that property. And talking about the fence that would keep the foot traffic out of our yards and our streets and stuff like that. We've not had a real big problem because the other apartments are further away. But when you get them right there under you, you know, and if there's any kids, I don't care if it's a 6-foot fence. If they want to go that way, they're going to go that way. And the ditches that he was talking about earlier, they're big ditches. Once, about 6 or 8 years ago, a lady lived beside of me, her house was broken into. The guy walked down the backyards to the ditch down there and couldn't cross the ditch because he was carrying a TV set in his arms. He walked out to 12th Street there, and somebody came by and picked him up. They had it all planned, you know, and come by and picked him up. But what's going to happen with that much more drainage, you know, feeding those two ditches, one on the end, this end, one on the end, the other end? How's it going to drain? Where's it going to drain to? Is it going to drain in my yard? I don't know. I mean, I hadn't had a chance to ask him. He didn't mention it while ago. Are you going to have drains going to Stony Creek down there or what? But it's all problems for me because I live there. And I don't know how much longer, but I'm planning on living a long time. Mayor, he knows where I work at. And tomorrow's going to be nice and cold. You can play all day long if you want to because you'll be the only one out there. But I work the golf course part-time. And and so forth. But I want to keep my health. I want to keep active and stuff like that. And I'm just worried about piling another shovel full of people in that little area there. They built the Lockhaven apartments. They built the medical complex back there for the old people in retirement. They built that big retirement building. And there's one more place to build from, and they fixed to fill that in. Where is the flow of traffic? One street. One street. Thank you.
Thank you. I just say that the Planning Commission, these people, they will examine every issue that you thought of and we'll review it. And you're free to go in and talk to Jimmy and Randy Planning, and they can explain a lot of these things to you. But we hear you, and they hear you.
I'm not against progress, but what's progress in one place might not be progress in another. You got a lot of people living in a small area right now, and you want to put some more progress.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this issue? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Connie Kennedy. I live at 1017 12th Street. Talking about change, I've been in this neighborhood since I was 11 years old. My parents built the first house on 12th Street. Needless to say, at that time, it wasn't in the city limits. Later in life, my mom built the house next door to it. So for 12 years, I have lived on this street all of my life except for 12 years. My concern is, as has been said earlier, the amount of population, the number of apartments, the people that will live in these apartments, the families. If you take a 2-bedroom home or apartment, you're looking at probably a family of 4. The area is not suited, as far as I'm concerned, for that amount, that dense population. As Mr. Aycock said, we did allow the apartments behind us and the senior citizen complex, but they did not back up to our property. They, you know, I can stand in my backyard and see them, but it's not. It's going to be different when I'm standing in my backyard and, like the man said, 75 feet between me and these complexes. As you know, it's I am not against change. Like I said, I've been in Goldsboro all my life, but and on that street, except for the 12 years I was away. I just hate to see it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Marvin Bowman. I've been living in that neighborhood.
Give us your address, please.
1003 12th Street. And I've been living in that neighborhood for 28 years. And I've seen a lot of change. You know, my kids, they grew up there. But my concern is that you build a senior home and then you don't give it a chance to see how it's going to operate, how it's going to play out. I'm concerned about the parking. You know, do they have adequate parking for all these units? And then again, that goes right back to the traffic. But it's going to be overwhelming to that area. And I am concerned about, I don't know if it's a high-end housing area or low-end or medium, but I am concerned about the clientele and the people who might be living in that area. But, you know, my point is that the neighborhood is going to be affected greatly, and I just hope that you all will consider what it's going to do to a very peaceful community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue? I don't see anyone. So we'll close this public hearing, and that's the public hearing, I guess. And hard-working planning commission, they've heard an awful lot. They've got a lot to deal with, but they can deal with it, and they will. So thank you, guys. If you want to be excused, you may. Thank you. Yes. Moving right along, consent agenda.
Mayor and council, on your consent agenda, you have items E through M, which we had discussed, and again, item M we had added during your work session, and it was the water line relocation on Royal Avenue with the DOT project. So again, items E through M.
Move for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments before we have this roll call vote? I guess there are none. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Broadway?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodman?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Allen?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Aycock?
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved. Item requiring individual action, we have none.
No, sir.
Moving right along, manager's report.
Mayor and council, the only thing I'd like to mention is the blood drive and I guess the challenge between the city and the county. And I would like to, one, thank our news media for covering that so well. Thank our employees for all participating in it. And although I think the city folks edged out the county this time, we'll see what it goes in the future. But it really is for a greater cause, and that is the gift of life and blood. And it's always an urgent need. And I think that's a testament to our employees and Red Cross for providing that service. So just wanted to mention that.
Out a way to go, gang. Out a way to go get the county. It's friendly competition.
Absolutely.
But we like to win too.
Absolutely.
Anything further, Scott?
No, sir.
Mr. Attorney?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
No report. Moving right along. We've got the resolution we took care of. I'll wait. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Just one comment. I just want to thank Terry Ward and the Community Affairs staff for yesterday's MLK breakfast. It was well attended, and Colonel Hall, I believe, our speaker. Taylor. Thank you. I stand correct. Gave some excellent remarks. So it was a good event for everyone.
Thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
There's no comment? No comment. Mr. Mayor, I just want to echo what Councilman Eden said concerning the MLK breakfast. I thought it was excellent. That's about it.
I just have one comment, Mr. Mayor. I have received some phone calls pertaining to an increase in water bill. I did not think the rates increased.
Not in this last budget, no, sir, but we'd be happy if folks have had an increase in their usage, their bill would have increased, and so if they would contact us, we'd be happy to at least try to find out what's going on for them.
Okay.
But there was not a rate increase.
Okay. Was there any increase in garbage?
There was a $1 increase in the sanitation and environmental service fee, so there was a $1 increase there, but no increase in the water and sewer rates.
All right.
Is that it?
That's it.
Yep.
I just don't have very much. I'd like to commend the finance department for getting a clean audit and absolutely no findings, and also the department heads for coming in below their expense items. That's really an achievement, and it's very difficult to do.
I think bottom line is we got a good group of people we're working with around here, and I'll tell you, they're awesome. Is that it, Rick?
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank Kay and her staff and everyone that worked with them, and Lateria and the people who did the Martin Luther King breakfast. It was really, really good. And, the speaker is an interesting young man. And, well, we talked about the blood drive, and I want to thank all of our employees for stepping up and doing what we do. Appreciate it. Is there anything else before we learn? We adjourn? Nothing, we stand adjourned.